Did you know that the guillotine was invented as a humane way to execute people? So was the electric chair. Even gas chambers were used as an official form of execution in 1921. Hanging, firing squads, lethal injections are all methods to officially kill a citizen. Stephen Johnson, State Continues Death Penalty Debate. New York Amsterdam News, web search, February 21st, 2012. Let's talk about capital punishment. Capital punishment can be discussed from many viewpoints, but I'm going to be focusing on how its legalization affects the United States morally, medically, and monetarily. Morality is a tricky topic that can often find its way to the abstract and hypothetical. To keep my points grounded, I'm going to try to base these points on statistics. It is statistically factual that innocent people have been murdered because of the death penalty. Between 1973 and 2010, 138 prisoners on death row were exonerated due to new evidence surfacing after their sentence. This means that it is statistically true that an innocent person has been murdered because of capital punishment. Michael Daly, I Committed Murder, Newsweek, Academic Search Premiere, February 7, 2012. By implementing capital punishment, the government is saying that it knows these statistics, but feels that the death of a few innocent people outweighs the protection of U.S. citizens. Yet, even that argument is invalid because in the 1970s, before the death penalty was reinstated, it was statistically proven that only 1% of killers actually killed a second time. Ron House, The Death Penalty and the Principle of Goodness, International Journal of Human Rights, Academic Search Premiere, February 15, 2012. With this in mind, that would mean that it is possible for capital punishment to actually be killing more innocent people than if they were just let on their own. The Supreme Court, however, intended capital punishment only for the most extreme and violent of crimes for which a person could never be forgiven. The fact is, humans are not animals guided by instincts. We are able to think and therefore can contemplate and decide to do outrageous crimes including murder, terrorism, torture, rape, etc. If those victims cannot be given the right to see justice, then what hope does this country's moral code have to follow? Because we are humans, we cannot tolerate the most heinous acts of violence. Bruce Jen, a constitutional lawyer and general counsel to the Center of Law and Accountability. Individual Rights and Responsibility, the Death Penalty but Sparingly, ABA.org, June 17, 2008. The morality of capital punishment has led to some medical issues, with doctors refusing to assist with the administration of lethal injection due to its violence of the Hippocratic Oath. Historically, people have always been trying to find the most humane way to execute via capital punishment. The current method, lethal injection, is far from perfect. Lethal injection works in three parts. First, it induces anesthesia and paralysis, then uses potassium chloride for death. If the anesthesia is not properly implemented, the side effects can range from asphyxiation, a burning sensation, muscle cramping, and even cardiac arrest. Jonathan P. Sheldon, Inadequate Anesthesia and Lethal Injection for Execution, Lancet, Academic Search Premiere, February 7, 2012. The paralytic drug, pancuronium bromide, works by arrest breaths and stopping muscle movement so that if the anesthesia, sodium thiopental, wore off, the prisoner would have no way of showing if he or she was unconscious or in pain. They'd just be paralyzed while the actual death injection focused on them. James Acker, The Time Has Surely Arrived, Justice Stevens and the Death Penalty, Contemporary Justice Review, Academic Search Premiere, February 21st, 2012. It's so easy for the anesthesia to not work. There is a reason that anesthesiologists get paid significantly more than surgeons, with lethal injection as a standard dose given to all prisoners. This is bad because the amount of anesthesia is affected by factors of weight, height, hair color, blood type, past medical history, and past drug usage. That last one being significant as many prisoners have known to have a drug addiction problem. The Hippocratic Oath is on the basis to protect lives. In a way, helping humanely kill a person who has been condemned with only the most serious of crimes is helping the livelihood of the community. A physician, especially an anesthesiologist, should feel a sense of duty to give that person the most humane death possible, and by not refusing to participate. It is a selfish position to state, "My hands are clean, you do your dirty work over there, and let the people suffer needlessly." The AMA, the American Medical Association, is just ignoring the problem and forcing it onto prison wardens and staff who are less equipped and less educated and more prone to make mistakes, which leads to unnecessary sufferings. This is basically the coward's way out. Bruce E. Ellerin, MD, Doctor of Oncology Radiation at Sayre Province Health Network. When Law and Ethics Collide, Why Physicians Participate in Executions, by Atlu Gawand, MD, July 6, 2006. In the end, the most pragmatic argument is in terms of costs. What is the result of the taxpayers' dollars? It is not economically viable to maintain the capital punishment system. Prisoners on death row have been separated from other prisoners and require their own separate penitentiaries. Dying Out, Economist, Academic Search Premier, Web 10th, February 2012. The administration of 3 doses of an expensive drug at specific intervals is required for capital punishment. This process needs to be overseen by an executioner. All of these factors are required or allowed in the process of capital punishment. These are the main reasons why it takes decades for a person sentenced to death to actually be put to death. This means that more people in jail for a longer time, which ultimately costs the state more money. In fact, most prisoners on death row are hardly executed and die of natural causes in prisons, which is just a waste to the system. As of 2007, there are 3,250 men and 50 women on death row. In 2007, 42 of them were put to death. At this rate, it would take 70 years to kill every prisoner, and this does not even factor those who will be sentenced in the future. Bannister Peers, Death Penalty, UN Victory Put Total Abolishment Within Our Grasp, International Review of Law, Computers and Technology, Academic Search Premier, February 20th, 2012. This overflow of people trying to reduce their sentence exhausts the appeal court system. This is expensive for judges, juries, state lawyers, and once again, the taxpayers' dollars. Overall, it costs $4 billion to execute 13 inmates between 1992 and 2006. Michael Darrell, I Committed Murder, Newsweek, Academic Search Premier, February 7th, 2012. Well, what is the alternative? Life in prison without parole is still an economic money drain that, depending on a person's lifespan, would cost more than those same prisoners put on death row. It has been cited that a specific death penalty case can cost $2 million, while a life without parole case can cost an average of $1 million per 50 years of life. Dudley Sharp, Director of Death Penalty Resources at Justice for All, Death Penalty and Sentencing Information, Justice for All website, October 1st, 1997. However, the JFA, Justice for All, estimates that life without parole can cost between $1.2 million and $3.6 million, which can be more than the average cost of a completed execution. So, one form of punishment really isn't extremely more expensive than the other. The different cases just cost different amounts, and the fact is that the death penalty cases have seemed to have more consistent costs, whereas life and parole is dependent on more factors, the biggest of which being the life expectancy within the prison system. In short, capital punishment is an evolving idea that brings up the questions of our humanity and morality. Whether you are for or against it, the fact is our society has evolved beyond the public executions and executions followed by torture. We are all trying to seek a humane solution to this problem, in either reworking the system or abolishing the program altogether. The fact is, only 18% of the world still uses capital punishment, and the United States shares this law with China, Saudi Arabia, North Korea, and Iraq. We killed more people in 2013, 39, than India did, 1. And India has nearly 5 times our population. What side of history do you want to be on?